Hey guys, welcome to Your Michigan Compass. Today's video is something I've been waiting to do for over a year. For the past year, the coronavirus has had the hands-on museum in Ann Arbor shut down. Recently it opened back up. It is limited as far as what you can do and what you can experience. I had to book a reservation for today's trip, but it is what it is. So let's go inside and check things out. Come along with us. All right, before we head inside, there is one thing I want to point out, and that's that the audio may be difficult to understand. There's lots of loud noises and lots of kids screaming, laughing, and having fun. One of the first things you see when you walk in is this wire tree, and I don't recall this being here in the past, so this must be new. And there's various lighted ornaments hanging from the tree and metal leaves. It's very cool looking, actually. Just past check-in, there's a gift store. As you can expect, there'll be plenty of learning and educational toys and games inside here. The hands-on museum is a multi-level experience, and they do have elevators as well as stairs. I'm sure you've all heard of musical chairs. Have you ever heard of musical stairs? There's reflectors here, and as you move your foot, it picks up the sound and plays a piano. This is the water play area, and unfortunately there's a lot of kids playing on the other side, so I may have to show this from up above if we get a chance where there's not a lot of kids. All right, well, there's nobody over in the water area. I can finally give you guys a good shot of what some of that water area looks like. This area gives kids an opportunity to understand how water can be used as a power source to move machinery, to create dams, and to even do some plumbing with some of the pipes they have here. Over here we have another piano. Right in front of us is a giant mouth. Let's take a walk inside the mouth. This particular exhibit is sponsored by the Delta Dental Foundation. Here's an example of some teeth, and apparently you can scrub the teeth using this brush. This is an X-ray simulator, and as I move the X-ray, you'll notice that it moves along the top as well. Over here we have a simulated tornado. That's pretty cool. Each of these has a placard that tells you a little bit about what's going on and how they're doing it and what they're trying to simulate. And over here we have a giant hamster wheel that powers this device here. I believe it's some sort of light or motor of some sort. There's lights down at the bottom there. We're not going to be able to see that, but let's step inside and see what it's like. I'm riding the hamster wheel, and I can't actually see the lights. Let me flip the camera on. I don't know if you can see those lights down there.
No, you can't go on there. You go on there.
Over here, a couple more hands-on experiments for kids to try out and play. This says magnetic sand, and you can use a magnet to move that sand inside. See it going up the wall there. This particular device is called a Zoetrope. We're going to spin the wheel and see what happens here. I'm not sure if you could see that. This particular thing creates with light, creates different shapes. As you get closer, they get larger, further back. All showing your movement in various colors. Over in this area, they have a radar that will check the speed of your throw. You can throw balls over here, try and throw them at that target, and your speed will appear right up on that screen. Unfortunately, these are not real balls. They're plastic ball pit balls, and I can't imagine this going very fast since there's almost no weight behind it. I don't think I'm gonna hit the target. There's just no way. But let's give it a shot. "17 miles an hour, one-handed with a camera in the other hand." And right here we have a giant magnet. I was able to stick these washers onto the magnet and have them hang. It's pretty powerful. And right here there's a small rock climbing wall for kids. Not too high, it's only about 5-6 feet high. But if the kids wanted to come over here and try climbing on these, they could do it. And the floor is padded, so if they do fall down, they're not going to get hurt. Looks like concrete, but it's rubber. This particular display asks you to use your sense of feel by sticking your hand into these boxes and seeing if you can figure out what's in there. That's a baseball. I can tell that one for sure. This one I'm not sure about. It feels like a wrench. It is a wrench. And let's see about this one. I think this might be Legos. Well, pretty close. This area focuses on fitness. This special device explains how your muscles work. And over here there's an area that focuses on balance to see if you can walk from one to the other without falling down on these uneven log pieces. And this particular display focuses on your hearing, and you can select different sounds. You have to try and figure out what those sounds are. You select the sound here, press the button, and then you have to figure out that might be a frog. So if you've been wondering why you've been hearing sirens, it's because there's an ambulance on display here for kids to go in and check out and see what an ambulance is like. And over here is the inside of the ambulance. This area is quite interesting. You have a little ambulance right here, and you can move the ambulance to these various areas that have little circles, and it tells you how to get from point A to point B. Well, it doesn't tell you how to get there, but it tells you where to go, and it lights up the circle, and you're supposed to move a little vehicle until you get down to that area. And apparently I have to put it right.
8113.
8113.
8113. We have arrived on scene of Sergeant Peppers and have made patient contact. 8113.
8113.
We are transporting the patient to U of M Hospital.
Heard. Head toward the red lighted circle on your map. It will remain lighted until you arrive.
All right, so now we got to take it up there.
HVA ALS Unit 8113. Do you copy?
8113, go ahead.
8113. We have a 23-year-old male who slipped on a banana with an obvious arm deformity. He is alert and oriented and denies hitting his head or 8113.
8113, go ahead.
8113. We are complete and available.
You can return to sit point at the Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum.
There's also various science lab rooms where they would do experiments with kids to show them how different things work. Unfortunately, these areas have not reopened, and there are no experiments right now. This area explains how tracks work. You put a ball up here on the track, and it will end up right back in that bin. This area here features kind of like a ball roller coaster. These balls go up, and there are tracks up in the ceiling, and then also one right here. And it's a great place for kids to experiment and see how various tracks work and how these balls work with gravity. There's also some playscapes in here for the smaller kids to run around and have fun inside. And even some softer areas towards the back. There's a smaller water area in the back corner of the room. Unfortunately, there's a lot of kids playing there and I can't show that to you. This is definitely for younger children, and it's down at a lower level so that the kids can actually reach the tables and get in there and have fun with the water. This is part of the water play area that I was referring to, where kids can play in the water. They can build dams, and over a little bit this way, there's another one of those areas with the balls and the rails where the balls can go up and down the rails. There's also some water involved back that way. All right, well, this one took me a while to get. You have to connect all these pipe pieces. There's air coming out of here, going into each of the extra areas here to play these pipes. Unfortunately, I don't think they have all the right pieces because I was not able to connect those two. This elbow doesn't quite reach, as you can see. And there's no longer tubes, and there's no more additions. So I didn't have the right parts to finish this off. So I just capped it here, and we should be able to play the first few notes. Now, if you've ever seen the Blue Man Group, they play some of these homemade instruments made out of PVC tubing. That's exactly what this is. And believe it or not, a flip-flop is used to cover it and play that sound. If you've ever wondered how a car moves and what makes it drive, you can see by turning the wheel, you can see that it's turning those wheels right there. And that is how a differential works. Now, this liquid is a ferrofluid, it's magnetic, and I'm going to show you how it works. What do you guys think of that? Magnetic fluid. Now this is called a whisper dish, and you're supposed to climb this ladder and speak through this circle, and the dish will reflect that sound all the way over to the other side of the room, way over there, and they'll be able to hear you. This area here explains how digital code works. It's a system of ones and zeros, and these switches either turn things on or off, so you can create code 01010011. That would be an 8-bit code there. This particular system of balls moving around the world using vacuum tubes explains how packets of data move across the world. And over in this area we have an example of how the telegram worked with Morse code. This one's sound. And then over here we have one that works with a light and a clicking sound. Over here we have an example of how brakes work on a car. And we've got a wheel, and you can spin the wheel and get it going. And then over here is a brake that will lock up that caliper and stop the wheel. Here's the demonstration brake. You can see the piston will move that brake pad a little bit. And that's what grabs onto that slotted piece. The slotted piece is your brake rotor right there. And by gripping on both sides using the brake pad, that's what stops your car. And over here, an example of how generators work. This one's a hand crank generator. And as you can see, generating enough power to operate the fan and the flashing red light. But they stop as soon as I do. And the more things that you turn on, the more power you need to generate it. So the faster you gotta go. Let's turn on one light bulb and see how that works. That takes quite a bit just to power that light bulb. This table is a good example of how gears work. Each one of these gears has a magnetic base on it. And the table is metal. You can connect them all, turn one gear, and see how it affects the others. This right here shows how a lever arm works. There are different ropes attached to that arm, and they all lift this weight. Certain ropes are much harder and require more force, like this first one. I can't budge it. Second one, just barely. Third one's much easier. And the last one's a piece of cake. All because of that lever arm. This exhibit here is similar to the air-powered rockets that you used to be able to buy. So I don't know if they still sell those or not, but these will go all the way up to the ceiling. Let's try it out. Press this button until you fill it up with air. They have a theater over here where you can go in and see some videos on STEM. Here, a good example of how insulation works. You can feel the heat on this very first one, but this one's cool and this one's actually cold. This is an example of how a solar cell works. The solar cell's in the middle, And the gauge is right there. Watch what happens as I move the light up and closer to direct surface of the solar cell. It's now at 100%. This particular display explains how wind power works. Over here, another example of wind power. There's a fan that you can turn on and a wind turbine over here. You can put your own fins on that wind turbine right there, and then it'll tell you how much power is being created. And the third floor, which is rather small, features a lot of exhibits that have to do with light. This particular box allows you to move around various items inside to create these neat shadows. All right, we're going to try that one more time. 3, 2, 1. And you can see my shadow there on the wall. Over here, a display on different prisms and how they work, and the different colors and patterns that they create. Back over in this corner, there's an air harp. And this works with lasers. You can probably see the little red dots down there. There's sensors at the top. So as you stick your finger into the harp, very cool. Now typically there's also a fourth floor, and it's also very small, just like the third floor, but that is the only thing that I've really seen that is closed. Everything else seems to be open, and you can get in there and play with things and try things out. It truly is a hands-on museum again, and that's great to see. Well guys, that's going to do it for our trip out to the Hands-On Museum in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I hope you guys really enjoyed this one. I've been trying to get out here for so long. I was very happy to see that everything is open and all the exhibits are there for the kids to try out and use. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to click on that compass so you can stay subscribed to future videos just like this one. And remember, adventure is only a short drive away.